Good evening, chat. Hello. It is Wednesday night. And you know what? Since the casino's not here, we're not talking about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We're not going to talk about what's going on in DC. Tonight, it's about Darkside Phil and iDubbbz and how they're both gay and cringe. Now let's get some sobs. Actually, no. We're gonna keep talking about what we're gonna talk about, but there is no casino tonight, so you guys have no excuse not to be here. So, Bato, you are. Hold on. Is this still working? Can you guys hear me still, or no? Or not? Can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Oh, okay, that's weird. Like it doesn't shut off. Anyways, sorry, I was trying to cough. I didn't realize it went off. All right. Bato was saying, so Russell Gray was late but paid. What could that mean? Absolutely fucking nothing. He paid. It's Tar Boy Summer. So that's what's gonna happen. He survives. He bought an extra life. And now he can fuck around again for a while. And this is not getting tossed yet. The judge is gonna let it keep going. So what's gonna happen? Noel has to spend fucking money. And then Matthew Harden has to, sorry, Matt, but you got to suffer. Gonna have to suffer with poor little Russell more. It's not over yet. White Boy Summer, as somebody on the farm said. And I saw that and I'm like, that is brilliant. Plight Boy Summer. So there we go. There we go. Jesus Christ, I'm telling you, man. It's not even God can save us now. So that's yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. He's got the eye of Tardron. He could just, yeah. Russell wants Noel's peen, Sean. I mean, he might, but I don't think Noel's gonna do that. So, oh, it's like what's that movie where there's vampires and they're in Alaska? It's like 30 Days a Night. And the one lady's like, please, and the vampire's about to kill her. She's like, please, God. And the vampire looks at her and he's like, no, God. And he kills her. It's like kind of like that. Kind of like that. Yeah. God sent Russell. It's like, you think God, it's like that Steve Buscemi thing. It's like, think God ever looks down on us to see what he's created and is too afraid to come back? I think that's what happens at times with all these lol cows. So don't blaspheme. I think God would understand what I'm saying here. And he'd be like, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I lived in Barrow where 30 Days a Night took place. Yeah, I think that's the right movie. I only thought the movie was cool because at the end, when he dies, like, and he actually dissolves, I'm like, that's a pretty epic way for like the sun to kill vampires. I was like, that was pretty metal, but you had to get all the way to the end for that. I was a little sad. God does have a sense of humor. Look at the platypus, yeah. Oh, Bato says I'll let you guys talk. Enough bottling. Yeah, well, but it's something people wanted to comment on. I know other people were asking, so yeah, I'm Team Flood. All right, guys. So we're gonna give a minute or two to let people get in here, but yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. We got Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He is fighting his Afuera, and he's fighting one of his cases, and it's probably going to happen just because of who he is, but we'll see. And then we're going to touch on apparently Washington D.C. is actually safe for once. Like places like the Navy Yard, where you used to not be able to go, are safe and you can walk around outside. Yes, Texas has some good news. There is some good news in Tejas. Yes, deep in the heart of Tejas, as one might say. There is some good news out of Texas. So So, hold on, I gotta bring these up. Let me see if I can. Okay. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a great week. You know, it's like it's Wednesday. Clyde the dog for governor of Ohio. You know what? I'm all for that. I would 100% have Clyde as the governor of this state over Vivek. And it's not just redistricting. Yeah, well, that's part of it. I mean, that's the biggest thing there. So I'd vote for Clyde over Vivek. So would I. So would I. Safe any leads on Seth Rich? No, sorry, not like that. Ooh, there's new fires. Well, that sucks. That sucks. This ad was approved by a woo. Yes, it was. Yes. Yes, it is approved. Clyde's going to puppermander all the districts. Yes, he is. Clyde is bought and paid for by Big P. You know what? That's all right, though. Yes, the USS New Orleans was on fire today. It's unknown how much damage happened to it, which is really bad because we can't afford to have these ships catching fire like that and out of action for a while. If you guys don't know, the USS New Orleans is one of the it's one of the new amphibious transport ships. It's not yeah. So had a 12-hour long fire going. So not good stuff. Not good stuff. You know, could carry like 700 Marines on it. It's a good ship. But, you know, when you lose like the Bonhomme Richard, which got lit on fire because of that Chinese spy and completely destroyed, it really hurts the op tempo of the U.S. Navy and the Marine Corps when they start losing ships like that. Yes, the modern Navy is fucked in skill and personnel. Yep. Already losing the war with China. Yeah, I mean, they're the only reason we're ahead is I mean, it's barely, but we're still there for now. For now, yes. I mean, I kind of think we might kick it off with the Chinese before they do, given how things are starting to slide. That's kind of where we are. Like, I think it's getting tough, chat. It's getting tough out there. I think we might kick it off with the Chinese first. Any pics of the New Orleans fire? No, because it was off of Okinawa. I don't think there's any pictures yet. So the competency crisis activate. Yeah, well, it's a lot of things at once. It's the peace dividend of the Cold War still catching up too. Like there's a lot of reasons, you know, the operational tempo of the U.S. military has been really hurt. So, oh, there's photos. Oh, there are photos. Ooh, let me see here. See if I can find some. Well, no. Well, USS New Orleans, the cruiser, had a rough day. Yes, we're not doing that one, and we're also not talking about the Iwo class amphibious assault ship one. That's why you Google USS New Orleans photos. Oh, okay. Yeah, this doesn't look good. So there's pictures of it getting like with boats helping it, but Yeah. Well, if only 2 sailors got injured, that's probably a good sign nothing happened. So yeah, that was tug spraying its forward deck. Yeah. So, all right, guys, about time to go. It's 10 minutes here. Let's get started. We got Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and if you guys know who he is the Maryland dad who was detained by ICE, picked up on the deportation orders. He had sought protection that there were that he was seeking asylum The court granted it and said that he was being held and that he couldn't be taken. He could be taken anywhere but where they were sending him. And, he's like, I can't go back to El Salvador. My mom makes Crunchwrap Supremes or pupusas or whatever the hell they were. And he said, ay, los míos. And this is a picture of Kilmar with his wife and one of his kids. So Kilmar got sent to CCOT or somewhere in El Salvador. It's not 100% clear. He got Afuera. And there was a court order that he had to, and the thing was that order that he couldn't go to El Salvador had to be properly revoked. So at the end of the day, did the government fuck up? 100% they did. 100% they did. Now, what do you do about that? Well, the proper thing for them to do is they should have drug him in front of an administrative judge, which is what an immigration official is. Drag him in front of him, say, okay, you get Afuera, bye. And that would have been it. That would have been it. But they didn't do that. And because they didn't do that, he got denied due process. And ultimately, yes, they do have to give that to him, which, is what it is, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, he is entitled to that due process. So, yeah, what do you have to do? You got to bring him back. You got to bring him back. So we brought him back. And in the meantime, and this is where, once again, when you catch the ire of the government and start fucking around with things, it really makes it difficult because what happened to Kilmar? Well, the government started going through its stacks of shit that it had on them. And what do they remember? And they go through everything they have. They're like, hey, we ran into this guy at a traffic stop. And what happened? Well, there was a police encounter in Tennessee. And here's what they found in Tennessee. He was heading out west of the Cumberland Gap to Johnson City, Tennessee. But here we go. They found, oh, hold on 1 second, chat. Hold on, chat. Chat, hold on 1 second. I will be right back. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry, 2.0. I had some adult stuff to talk about, so we're back. Anyways, this is from the Tennessee Department of Safety, and this is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the driver's seat. And this is what happens when the government starts looking into the shit they can get you on. Guess what they do? Guess what they do? Wait, you can't hear me? I'm looking for helicopters and bearcats. No. Oh, no, if I did that, I'd be turning it on. And you turned 40. Now you have adult stuff to talk about? Yeah, very true. All right, but anyways, here is and hi. Hello, how are you guys doing tonight, by the way? So here you go. Hi, Angela, and everybody else. So here we go.
6:01 is the time right now. We are following some breaking news developments in 3 high-profile deportation cases that we've been tracking closely here in the DMV. We start with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Within the last 3 hours, we obtained new video that the Trump administration says proves that he's a danger.
Yeah, so first off, this is a long video. It's about from the start over Abrego Garcia for speeding. 7 troopers and
So they pull him over and he's in a car with 9 other people. You're like, that's totally not human smuggling.
Tennessee pulled over Abrego Garcia for speeding 75 in a 65 along I-40. He was driving an SUV with about 8 other men inside.
So where are you guys coming from right now? Where are you coming from?
From San Luis. So I work in San Luis. So right now, finished. That place finished. So I go back.
Notice the Maryland man is wandering around Tennessee with a bunch of Mexicans. That's totally legit.
I go back to the house of Maryland. Next week, I go maybe tonight the other project.
I thought you was going to Missouri.
The next project, I told you, the next project next week.
Abrego Garcia tells the trooper he's driving fellow construction workers from Houston to St. Louis back to Maryland.
So nothing illegal?
No, sir.
But another trooper later suggests he might be transporting undocumented immigrants for money. He pointed out the men had no luggage and Abrego Garcia had $1,400 in cash. The trooper ran his name. Then federal officials told Tennessee State Police there was no need to detain him. Instead, he was warned for driving with an expired license and let go. He was never arrested or charged.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he didn't do anything illegal. It's just not our priority. Not our priority. But yeah, something sketchy. Yes, hello, my fellow construction workers. Yes. Yeah, federal officials under Biden, yeah, in 2022, notice that. They kind of neglect that part. Well, nobody arrested him. Well, look, what time are we talking about here? 2022.
Stay right there. I'm gonna get.
So, and guess what happens? And guess what happened? Well, as time went on, we're now dealing with 2024 into 2025. And as this happens, we are now dealing with the Trump administration. And they dig through their files, and this is what happens. So people have asked me before, getting caught for a violation of 18 USC 922R, and that's where if you don't have enough foreign part or enough US made parts in your guns, depending on what's been imported, sometimes you have to have a certain amount of parts. We're not getting into that discussion now, chat, but depending on how your gun is set up, it has to be 922R compliant. Has anybody ever been convicted of a 922R violation? No. But if the federal government's looking for you, guess what they're going to do? They go, oh, we found something. We went and raided his house and we found a gun. Now we have a gun charge to lever over his head. There's a lot they can do there. There's a lot they can do. There's a lot they can do, and you have to be smart about it. You have to be smart about it. So that's why getting and screaming and ranting. Sorry, there we go. Sorry. I forget when you disconnect here, it disconnects on there. Sorry, guys. No, this thing gets so freaking ridiculous sometimes. Anyway, let's keep going. But this is the problem. The government wants you. They will find something. They will find something on you. And guess what? They went through and they pulled it out and said, we got him. We got him. So he was charged with transporting people. This is like the OG Sean days. Yes, thank you. And he was charged with multiple federal offenses. And yeah, this is This is where this leads. You know, you can get mad about it. You don't have to like it. You can piss and shit and scream and holler, but this is what you get at the end of the day. You get an indictment like this, and you get an indictment. Did Clyde get back at me? Yes, this is all Clyde's doing. So, but what does this get you at the end of the day? Well, he's got a bunch of charges. You know, and he got a bunch of charges. They had to seal his indictment, and then they unsealed it, and they released the indictment for him. And the indictment was kind of rough. So what do they charge him with? They charge him with a couple different crimes. You know, the conspiracy to transport aliens. So again, when you you give the government an excuse to come after you, they will find reasons. They'll use every law you've broken to come after you. So transporting, and he's talking about transporting in Tennessee. They bring up the whole thing. Unlawful transportation of undocumented aliens. Another. Like, they're hitting him with a bunch of counts. So there you go. There you go. You know, and he's got a bunch of counts here that he's dealing with. You know, right here, boom, 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 boom. He's got 4 counts he's dealing with ultimately. Sucks, but you know what? That's what the government does. Part of the game. Part of the game. Yes, if you're a Trump, they'll change the law to prosecute you. Okay, well, yes, that's also a fair point. They went around and looked for everything. They had to use his taxes and all the campaign filings and shit he did. Yeah, if the government wants to get you one way or another, they will get you. Yeah, sucks to suck. And it didn't help that his biggest advocates out there, people screaming and cheering for him, they basically caused this to become a bigger disaster. You embarrass the government then fucks you. Well, guess what? They fucked hard. Now we're to the point that, you know, Kilmar, and the way this works for him, right now, he's being held. Okay. Even if this criminal case goes away, he still has a detention for his immigration holder. So guess what? He's still afuera. He still gets afuera. Now, the judge in Maryland has said, well, you have to give me notice before that. I still don't think she has the authority to do so. But even if she did have that authority, fine. We'll give you 3 days. He gets to do it. We'll let you dildo stomp his hearings, and he can tap dance his way through it. We'll give you a week of hearings. We'll make sure we pick our immigration judges. Afuera, bye. He's going to leave. So guess what? He's going to get his process. He's going to get all of his fucking process. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. He's still getting afuera. He's still getting afuera. So what have his attorneys done though in Tennessee? They filed a motion for vindictive prosecution. Now here's the thing: every other time people file a motion for vindictive prosecution, it fails. Why might he get his? Well, I get the feeling these judges might be activist enough to allow it and say, well, yeah, they're picking on you. So anyways, it's a dismissal for vindictive and selective prosecution. Well, part of the issue is you make yourself known. It makes it easy for them to select you. So they go through all this. They talk about everything that happens here. So we'll go through this really quick to see how they phrase it. So, so what happens here? And they say, and this is actually true, the prosecutor has more control over life, liberty, and reputation than any other persons in America. And that's true. From Chief Justice Robert H. Jackson. Although this was written in 1940, so he is not Chief Justice yet. And it says, prosecutorial power, though vast, is not unlimited. Correct. It cannot be used to punish someone for exercising their constitutional rights. Turtle Boy would beg to differ on that one. Yet that is exactly what has happened here. Well, did it? Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been singled out by the U.S. government. It is obvious why. Well, yeah, because you made him a fucking target. And it's not because of the seriousness of his alleged conduct, nor is it because he possesses some unique threat. Instead, he's charged because he refused to acquiesce in the government's violation of his due process rights. Okay? The government unlawfully removed him. They did. An action it subsequently admitted was a mistake, which they shouldn't have done that. Predictably, once in El Salvador, he was incarcerated at CCOT, where he was beaten and otherwise subjected to inhumane conditions, allegedly. Who knows? He responded to the government's shocking illegal conduct by filing a lawsuit. Okay, well, yeah. Rather than fix his make and return him, the government fought back at every level of the federal court system. They're allowed to. And at every level, he won. He's still getting fucking Afuera, so no, he's not going to win. This case results from a concerted effort to punish him for having the audacity to fight back, rather than accept a brutal injustice. I mean, he's still getting Afuera, so great, you have your hearing, had your hearing, bye. So the event that alleged here happened in 2022. At the time, he was living in the U.S. lawfully. He had secured an order from an immigration court prohibiting his removal to El Salvador. Yes, because the Crunchwrap Supreme Wars, the Papusa gangs, was so dangerous. The country was birth and citizenship to protect him from gang violence he feared if he returned there. Well, great. Now we can send third parties to Honduras. That's a thing now. We could send him to Sudan. The MS-13 guys aren't going to find him there. He could join the Janjaweed if he's already been, in a criminal enterprise. In November, he was pulled over allegedly for speeding while driving an SUV with 9 passengers through Tennessee. Federal authorities were informed of the facts and declined to prosecute or investigate. Okay. He was sent on his way without so much as a traffic ticket. That doesn't actually mean anything. I agree. You make the points. You make the points where you can. 3 years later, unrelatedly, the government picked him up off the street, along with others in similar status, as part of a shock and awe. I was definitely in shock, and I was definitely in awe. Wow, he's really doing it. Immigration and enforcement push. Over 3 days, the government whisked him from one facility to another in an effort to keep him, his loved ones, and his attorneys guessing about his whereabouts, which still file a fucking motion and deal with it. Then the government forced him on an airplane bound for El Salvador. South of the border, down El Salvador way. I know it's south of the border, down Mexico way, but close enough. Where the government was legally prohibited from sending him. He was detained there without any charges, where he was tortured. While he was being tortured, his lawyers filed a suit on his behalf in the United States. They did. And this was done in front of Judge Zenas in Maryland. They sought an order returning him to the status quo ante, meaning prior to everything. This is ordinary life in Maryland, where he lived with his wife and children, all U.S. citizens. Even as government officials recognized both publicly and privately that the removal had been a serious mistake. It was. Yeah, they fucked up, and they should have brought him back. And now he gets all his due process, and then he fucking gets on the bus. The government responded not with contrition nor with any effort to fix it, but with defiance. A group of the most senior officials in the U.S. sought vengeance. They began a public campaign to punish him for daring to fight back, or you gave them an excuse to fucking look. I mean, you put the ring on and you're shocked. You put the ring on and now you're shocked. The eye of Sauron went. You're like, oh no! It's like, well, there you go. Now here we go. Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure authorize for a motion for selective and vindictive prosecution. These motions are infrequently made and rarely succeed. That's true. But this is apparently the case. The government's attempting to use this to punish him for successfully fighting his unlawful removal. I mean, or you gave them a reason to fucking investigate hard on this guy. Like, well, look, is there something we could charge him with? If it's illegal, like, can you legally charge him for it? Yeah, well, there you go. This is a violation of the most basic sort. The indictment must be dismissed. Yeah, I don't know about that. So anyways, he is a citizen of El Salvador, but for more than a decade he's lived in the U.S. He came to the country as a teenager, sometime around 2011 to flee gang violence. Barrio 18, the notorious Salvadoran gang, used Abrego as a pawn in its efforts to extort his parents to protect him. They ultimately sent him to the U.S. to live with his brother, a U.S. citizen in Maryland. In 2018, by then an adult, he moved in with his now wife and her 2 children, all likewise American citizens. In 2019, Abrego and his wife had a son who is also a citizen of this country. Now, notice they're doing that to be assholes about the whole birthright citizenship thing. Although he entered the United States without inspection, his presence in this country has been lawful when he secured an order, which is the withholding order. The underlying immigration proceeding began in March when they arrested him and 3 other day laborers as he waited for work outside a Home Depot. He was never charged with a crime, well, except for being here illegally. Instead, officers asked whether he was a gang member. He told them he was not. And they pressured him to cooperate. When he refused, he was transferred in the custody of ICE, which detained him and commenced removal proceedings. Those continued when the immigration judge issued the withholding order, concluding that Abrego had established past persecution based on a protected ground and fear of future persecution. Well, you know what? It's a good thing CCOT exists because all the Papusa bandits are now in prison. From that point on, the government was prohibited from removing him, except by commencing proceedings to reopen the case or terminate the withholding removal. And that's all he had to do was terminate the withholding removal. ICE did not appeal the order, and ICE did not ever seek to reopen the proceedings, and that's where they fucked up. Instead, he was released from ICE detention on supervised release and received authorization to work in the United States. It says, for the ensuing 6 years, he lived in Maryland with his wife and their children. He fully complied with all directives from ICE, including annual check-ins, and until his case filed, he has never been charged or convicted of any crime. Well, womp, womp, womp. You know, you rely on the government's benevolence. It changes on a dime. He is illegally seized. Well, okay. And then in March, while driving home from work with his young son in the car, he was pulled over by ICE agents. The agents had no warrant for his arrest and no lawful basis to take him into custody. I don't think that's correct. They only told him that his status had changed. Over the ensuing 3 days, he was shuttled from center to center and eventually to Tejas without notice, legal process, or hearing. And that's where, yeah, he was entitled to a hearing. And if they would have done the hearing right, he would have been Afuera and nobody would have cared. They transported him to CCOT. And, you know, remember, guys, I don't know if you remember this. For a while there, they were claiming that people were getting chopped up behind CCOT. There was a spot, they're like, oh, my God, there's bodies behind CCOT. And it's like, no, that's not a pile of bodies. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember that. That was some fun shit when that happened. Oh. Adam says you wish they were doing that for real. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was any of this torture proven? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Real quick. Accountant Steve, 23 for $10 says, I'm kind of pissed off. Will Abrego get deported? He was already gone. Seems like a fail here to bring him back. No, actually bringing him back was the correct thing. He was supposed to have a hearing before he got removed. They didn't do the hearing, so he should have been brought back, had the hearing, and then just fucking sent him off. Like, charging him was kind of gay. If they had just done their stupid little look, you're no longer dangerous there. Bye. That would have been enough. That would have been enough. The government's looking for their pound of flesh here, and they're going to drag this out. You know, if they had their way, like, if he committed a crime and they would have put him in jail for 20 years, fine. And then deport him as a big fuck you, great. If he broke the law, he broke the law. And they say, have these shenanigans a risk of release? Will he be a flared eventually? Yeah. Yeah. Eventually he will be a flared. Chugi Show for $1.99. Thank you. Says, Sean abandons us for sandwiches and blames adult stuff. Yes. John Coleman says, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Just because he wasn't arrested doesn't mean he is innocent. Yes. Very true. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah. Bella says, granted, he already had 2 hearings. The hearing for the withholding order had to happen, where that withholding order has to happen where the immigration judge looks at it and says, yeah, there's no longer a threat in El Salvador. I'm removing the withholding order. So that prohibition, that has to get removed by a judge in a hearing. So it's just easy enough to fix. It's an easy, simple thing. And that's why I thought all the people screaming and crying about, bringing him due process, like, why? Because he's going to get fucking deported, which didn't make any sense. He just needs his due process. Don't lie. Just tell me you don't want him deported at all and you want them all here. But, he's getting all the due process he could fucking handle now. While at CCOT, he was tortured, allegedly. Notice that's not alleged. That's confirmed, really. Starting immediately upon his arrival, he was repeatedly beaten. Citation needed. When he first got to CCOT, he was given prison clothing, then kicked in the legs with boots and struck at his head and arms to make him change his clothes faster. Once he was dressed, his head was shaved, and he was frog marched to a cell, being struck with wooden batons along the way. The physical torture continued thereafter. They were deprived of sleep by being forced to kneel throughout the night from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and prison guards to strike anyone who fell from exhaustion, allegedly. He was denied access to a bathroom and pooped himself. Abrego was effectively starved while at CCOT. During his first 2 weeks there, he approximately lost 31 pounds. How do we know this? So anyways, he challenges removal. In March, he then challenged his unlawful removal. He filed a lawsuit against officials in Maryland, alleging it violated the Immigration and Nationality Act, which it did. It did, and it had to get fixed. They say even though the government confessed relatively promptly that its removal was an error, the government did not take steps to fix the mistake. Well, at that point, it's out of their hands. Instead, in response to the lawsuit, the government undertook a wide-ranging and unprecedented retribution campaign against him. This criminal case is part of that campaign. Well, remember, they tried to say, oh, he's just the nice dad. It's like, well, it sounds like he beat his wife. I mean, is that relevant? No, but once again, remember who was out here saying our baby didn't do nothing wrong? Well, when you do that, you kind of open up people to say, au contraire, mon frere, he's not a nice boy. He's not a SoundCloud rapper in the making. So the government responded to the unlawful removal. The scrambles reflected in documents disclosed in a whistleblower complaint by a guy who's the former acting deputy director of immigration litigation at the DOJ. Those documents show the government latched on unsubstantiated claims of the MS-13 stuff. Yeah, to justify the mistake. Yeah, it doesn't sound like the guy was in MS-13. And that's where they did the whole thing with his fucking knuckles. And we even talked about that, Chad. I'm like, that doesn't look like MS-13 to me. So they say a lot of the info in the incident being pulled over that led to no citation, and very little and why he's believed to be a member of MS-13. I think this may be all they have. So eventually, they reportedly conceded in an email the day before his removal was an administrative error. They proposed the government call Abrego a leader of MS-13. And they said they have found verified member, but haven't found nothing indicating leader. That day, the government filed a declaration saying and averring that he was arrested because of his prominent role in MS-13 and was removed in good faith based upon his purported membership. They claimed that he was removed to El Salvador through administrative error. Which, yeah, they have to fix. They got to fix the error. But you know what? Bring him back and then bye. Get out. And they said ICE was aware when they flew him to that country. And it sounds like they were. They also admitted that sending him was not something the government had long planned. He was not on the initial manifest, but he was eventually assigned after other passengers were removed from the list. Yeah, he kind of just got thrown on at the last second. And as some parts recognized there was something wrong, others were taking steps to deter him from pursuing his case. And it says J.D. Vance falsely proclaimed he was a gang member with no legal right to be here. Well, he's right. He has no legal right to be here, but it doesn't look like he's an MS-13 member. But he has no legal right to be here. So you get half credit there, J.D. Vance. You get half credit. Yeah, the DOJ can't use lawfare for retribution after January 21st, 2025. Yep. That's the rule if the Democrats have their way. Yeah, I don't care. Out you go. Yeah. Adam says Zoom is cheaper. Nope. No, we bring him back, do it, and then get him the fuck out. So, yeah. Well, Bella, he's saying, like, he's been in jail, you lose weight. Actually, a lot of people gain weight in jail, too. But he's, in El Salvador where it's fucking hot as ball sack all the time. Yeah, I'm sure he lost weight sitting in the fucking jungle. So, I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. So anyways, they point out they kicked out the government's campaign to get him back. And it says, meanwhile, even after the commencement of this, Mr. Riveni continued to press for the prompt return, suffering grave career consequences as a result. Well, yeah, when you narc on your boss, it's not a good look. So he requested updates from the DOJ and State Department about securing the return. He also raised concerns about the sufficiency of the gang stuff, and they instructed him not to make requests of the DHS and the State Department or any ask of El Salvador. Well, that's true, because they can't be forced to go fucking negotiate if a court orders them. We already dealt with that with Boasberg. But it's true. He shouldn't have been removed. They have to keep hammering on this because it's all they got. In minutes after the hearing, they said, why did they not argue that his membership in the terrorist organization nullified the removal? Riveni told his supervisor those arguments had no legal basis. When he refused to sign the appeal brief reiterating those statements, he was placed on leave and then fired. Yeah, well, there you go. But you know what? He did what he thought was right. And honestly, if the guy isn't a gang member, fine. Good for him. But this guy still gets deported. So there you go. So after the hearing, he obtained an injunction requiring the United States to seek his return. He then successfully defended that ruling on appeal at the Fourth Circuit. This is an order denying the stay pending appeal. Well, that doesn't mean that he defended it. So the government's contention and otherwise in its arguments that the federal courts are powerless to intervene are unconscionable is what the judge says. They said there's no question the government screwed up here, and it's true it did. On April 10th, the government agreed that Abrego was improperly sent to El Salvador, and the government needed to facilitate his release from custody in El Salvador. Notice they say facilitate, not actually make it happen. So the immediate aftermath, the government did not facilitate the release. Far from it. Trump hosted El Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, where he met with other officials. At that meeting, Bukele mused about defying the Supreme Court's order, trading remarks about how he neither had the power to return Abrego to the United States, which, I do think that was weird. He says he does bring up the whole, how could I smuggle a terrorist in the United States? Which is a pretty cheeky remark. And it says shortly after Pam Bondi and others attacked him publicly, they labeled him as a gangbanger, a monster, an illegal predator, an illegal alien terrorist, a wife beater, which it sounds like he is, a human trafficker, which it sounds like he is. So gangbanger, no. Monster, no. Illegal predator, no. Illegal alien terrorist, no. Wife beater, yes. Human trafficker, yes. And while the government waged a campaign, it also sought to use criminal investigative authority for the same purpose. In late 2025, they opened a new criminal investigation in Abrego to better support their arguments. Yeah, so guess what? They fucking do their research. They're doing opposition research, guys. Hydra Fear says, so he isn't in a gang? Press X to doubt. I mean, maybe he was, but there's no clear evidence. So, yeah, we should bring him back for another hearing and deport him for a third time. Well, he is back in America, so, joke's on us. Kilmar's guilty of being anti-Clyde. Well, then fucking string him up. No more hearings. So they go to the 2022 traffic stop where we saw that. He was neither ticketed nor charged. That doesn't mean anything. And then they say the Biden-era FBI made the decision not to detain him, which is true. But anyways, yeah, so the government's looking through and they found new importance for the traffic stop. When it found the desire to push for his thing there, yeah. And they said they were quietly investigating the traffic stop, which they're allowed to do. If he committed a crime, it's still not vindictive. It's if you broke the law, that's it. So the government's gone to extreme lengths to make a criminal case. I wouldn't say they're that long. I mean, it's not like they're fucking, raided the house and stole all the documents out like Mar-a-Lago or anything like that. The government located and sought cooperation from multiple alleged conspirators who have already been sentenced. So alleged co-conspirators who have already been sentenced. Sentenced for what? Sentenced for what? Huh. Gee, I wonder what these guys were sentenced for. Don't you? Notice that's not included in the document. Why? Remember, chat, what's not being said? I don't know, guys. So they point out that who are cooperating down on Abrego, allegedly a mere driver in a smuggling conspiracy. That's part of a conspiracy. The government star cooperator is a convicted leader of a human smuggling business who has 300 felony convictions and was deported 5 times. The government arranged for him to be released early from a 30-month sentence to a halfway house, notwithstanding his deportations, and to receive work authorization. All is an inducement to cooperate. Yeah, the government will do a lot of nasty shit to secure a conviction. Yeah, even at the misdemeanor level, I've been able to arrange some crazy shit for my clients that I find hard to believe. But I've also had cases where my clients have been convicted and the guy selling them out, you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, I had clients involved in a fucking shooting with an AR-15. And the guy who provided the gun and set it up and ran reconnaissance and was a lookout during the shooting got fucking probation out of it because he ran to the cops first and confessed. And my guy never even touched the gun and got years in prison for it for his troubles. So there you go. All kinds of nasty shit happens when the government wants to cut a deal. And I'm talking about a state level case. Against Abrego, one of his subordinates. Yeah, well, because you guys made him somebody to look for. You guys made him somebody to look for. It fucking happens. And yeah, at the end of the day, I hope they fucking deport this motherfucker too. I hope they fucking... Ooh, what happened here, chat? I hope they fucking deport his ass too. I hope he gets to the halfway house and they're like, knock, knock. You're getting Afuera anyway. We're altering the deal, Jorge. No, no. Like, Afuera for you too, brother. Afuera for you too. Tech guy says that sounds like loser talk. I mean, I don't know. When the guy who basically set it up and logistically supplied this series of shootings gets like all the breaks in the world and your guy never touched a gun, gets nothing. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. So, and you call the prosecutor and say, this is fucking perverse. But they can do it. Says the government also lined up several of that cooperator's relatives and paramours who sought similar benefits to purportedly corroborate his testimony. Yeah, that's how this works. It's like your first day on the job, defense attorneys. And relying on this heavily incentivized cooperation, they secured an indictment. Or were they saying these are lies? The indictment was riddled with inflammatory, irrelevant... Really? Has it? And has turned out thinly supported allegations. The references to alleged MS-13 membership, the transporting illegal firearms, abusing female undocumented aliens. Well, I mean, I guess his wife is documented, but yeah, I'm sure she's been abused. The day the indictment was returned, the then chief of the criminal division charged that Abrego abruptly charged him resigned, reportedly over concerns the case is being pursued for political reasons. Yeah, if they only did that for like all the shit Jack Smith did, I mean, but notice that nobody resigned over that. This is only after returning the indictment did the government many weeks belatedly take any steps that could construe as complying with court orders, requiring us to facilitate the return. The government presented the indictment and arrest warrant to the government of El Salvador. Yes, well, that's you wanted them back. Here you go. Like, I mean, really, you guys are like, bring them back. Okay, this is how we bring them back. No, not like this. It's like, well, we indicted him. So they're like, no, not like this. Like, then what the fuck do you want? What do you want from us? What do you want from us? Oh. So. Make this case was initiated to punish him for challenging his removal. I mean, well, you guys made like not him, but the people around him. So they also claim the charges supporting him have been the right thing to do. Attorney General Bondi, God, I hate him, Bondi, called to announce the charges and gloated, "This is what American justice looks like." Well, to be fair, this is what American justice looks like. Let's not lie. The American justice system is a fucking dumpster fire. So she's not actually wrong. And unethically opined that Abrego would be found guilty, sentenced, and then returned to his home country of El Salvador. Well, this is going to happen anyway. And then Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche went on television to say the government had been investigating him only after a judge in Maryland questioned the decision. And he said he added the reason that Abrego was returned and brought back here is not a judge. It's an arrest warrant issued by a grand jury. And then Trump chimed in and said, look, maybe, he's like, I could see a decision being made, bring him back, show everybody how horrible this guy is. And frankly, we have to do something against judges that are trying to take the place of a president that won in a landslide. Well, you didn't win the landslide, but yes, the courts are trying to usurp power. Abby says, aren't you a part of that system? Yeah, I don't like the system, how it operates. I try to figure out what I can do for people. But yes, I'm telling you, the system's a disaster zone. The government has made it fucking horrible. So I'm serious. The government fucking ruined it. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie. That do you want me to bullshit you on that? I could see it firsthand every fucking day. So, move your mic up. The audio breaking up. Sorry. Why does it sound like a homeless person just in your mic? I don't know. Hold on here. Let me see. No, everything's set normal. So, my mic is not failing. This mic is still good. The mic is coming in and out. Like, guys, I don't know why it's fucking. Hold on. Like, I do not need a new mic. This mic is fine. It's a good mic. Just fixing it. Hold on. I don't know what's going on. So you guys say it's not working, and then you say it's working, and then it's going in and out. There's audio interference of what? Like what audio is interfering? I don't know what's going on. You need to learn how to use your mic correctly. I've been using it this whole fucking time, and normally you guys don't bitch or moan, so I don't know what to fucking tell you. So that's so don't start with that shit. You guys didn't say anything last night or the night before, so don't tell me I'm not using it right now. So it's just that shit gets. Okay, here, Garrett, we'll talk like this. Is this better now? You guys can't see my face. You have a bad habit of moving it and talking across it rather than into it. I mean, yeah, like it's okay. We'll do it like this right here. I mean, like this is retarded. No, it's gonna be like this right here. So. What the fuck do you mean it sounds like it's in bubble wrap? I don't guys, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like I have not changed a thing I've done and now you guys are like whining that it's not working right. That it doesn't make any sense. That's the and like now you guys are like it sounds fine. It's like, well then what was broken? And now it makes me think you guys are like fucking around with me, and that's why I ignore you half the time with the mic. Yeah, this is also it's a Shure, S7M SM7B. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is why I ignore you guys. Because it's like, well, no, it's good. It's like, I didn't do anything. Maybe your audio fucking sucks. So it says applicable law of vindictive prosecution. So you cannot punish defendants for exercising their constitutional statutory rights. They do all the fucking time. Prosecutors will say, if you make me do this suppression hearing, deal's off the table. All the time. They do shit like this all the time, chat. The restraint on federal prosecutors, otherwise broad discretion, is enforced through motions to dismiss indictment on grounds of prosecutorial vindictiveness. And you could challenge it in two ways. The first way, you could show actual vindictiveness, like objective evidence the prosecutor acted in order to punish the defendant. The second way is you could show that in a particular situation, there existed a realistic likelihood of vindictiveness. And how do you show that? The prosecutor had some stake in deterring the exercise of rights, and the prosecutor's conduct was somehow unreasonable. And they say at such a showing, the district court may presume an improper motive, which then the government has to rebut. Like, okay, well, that sounds like a pretty straightforward thing there. So, I just crashed out on chat. No, when I crash out, it'll be like a ton of bricks falling. Let me tell you what. So they say motives are complex and difficult to prove. As a result, actions detrimental to the defendant have been taken after the exercise of right. The court has found it necessary to presume the improper motive. And it says when the government presumes it, the government must do more than merely offer explanations, rebutting the presumption. And it's an abuse of discretion for a trial court to fail to require the government to substantiate its explanations. And notice, guys, we are talking about Sixth Circuit cases here. Sixth Circuit, and another Sixth Circuit case right here. Why is that important? Well, when you guys figure out where Tennessee is, guess what? It is in the Sixth Circuit. Here is the Sixth Circuit. And guess what? Tennessee is in the Sixth Circuit. So there you go. Tennessee is at the bottom. And that is the Sixth Circuit. And the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals is actually in Cincinnati. So that's why you're seeing all these Sixth Circuit cases. So what is going on? Oh, hold on here. Where are we at? Yeah. All right, let's keep going. So selective prosecution. And now, yes, the prosecutors enjoy broad discretion to enforce their laws. That discretion is not unfettered. One is the idea of selective prosecution. So they say the selectivity in the enforcement of criminal laws is subject to restraints including that the decision cannot be based on the exercise of statutory and constitutional rights. And if they selectively prosecuted someone based on these considerations, the equal protection remedy is to dismiss the prosecution. And to prove selective prosecution, you got to prove two elements. First, that the decision had a discriminatory purpose, and second, that it had a discriminatory effect. And said, put another way, you must show at least that while others similarly situated have not been generally proceeded against because of the conduct of the type forming the basis of the charge against them, he has been singled out for prosecution. Well, how do you know that? Because, yeah, he's fighting his case, but has the government gone back and dug through things? Well, he's like kind of on his own here. But people in his situation, trucking people around, have they been pinged for human trafficking? Probably. And two, the government's discriminatory selection has been insidious or in bad faith, based upon impermissible considerations as race, religion, or the desire or to prevent the exercise of his constitutional rights. Well, I think you lose here on this one right here. You lose right there. I think part one fails. So they're saying that it is vindictive. Okay, well, they say there's objective evidence for this. And they're going to use all the statements of everybody. And they said they brought the case avowedly for vindictive reasons. Now they do point out here, though, we should be clear that Mr. Abrego has no basis to allege the acting U.S. attorney for the Middle District of Tennessee, who's been handling the proceedings, has done anything to display personal animus towards him. He says that doesn't ameliorate the vindictiveness here. Notice they're trying to say, you notice why they're saying that? Because if they lose, they don't want to accuse the prosecutor himself and the U.S. attorney directly there of being a piece of shit, because they'll get butt fucked at that point. So they're like, we'll be nice to you. But they say high-ranking executive branch officials have made it clear their motivations. When the prosecutor clearly expresses his intent and motivation. They say direct evidence includes evidence is a statement by the prosecutor. And it says the Deputy Attorney General, the second highest ranking official in the DOJ, which once again, they're saying Todd Blanche, said this was being commenced because a judge in Maryland had questioned the government and accused us of doing something wrong. Well, notice they're saying the judge, not Kilmar, but the judge. And the case will be brought so that Mr. Abrego would be turned to his country, not because of a judge, but because of an arrest warrant. And Trump likewise characterized the case as a rebuke for the fact the judge had granted Abrego relief. And after Kilmar filed his challenge, but no before the investigation was opened, a litany of high-ranking officials, including Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who is a fucking idiot like Pam Bondi, who leads the agency responsible for the investigation, began attacking him for his purported criminality, which is further evidence of the government's motive. Well, maybe the government doesn't like fucking criminals. Maybe the government doesn't like criminals. Maybe the government doesn't like criminals. So that's where we are. That's where we are. And guys, I don't know if there's loose cables. Nothing has literally moved. Like when I get done for the night, I push this out of the way. And when it's time to come back in, that's all I do. So the cable's getting loose or whatever. Haven't changed anything. So I don't know what's going on. So, but yeah, maybe the government doesn't like fucking criminals in place. And it said the unprecedented public announcements attacking Abrego for his successful exercise of rights by senior cabinet level members, leaders of the DOJ, and even the president of the United States. Wow, I think you could almost make the same argument for Trump that he was selectively and vindictively prosecuted. Ooh, wow, that's different, I guess. Make this a rare case where actual vindictiveness is clear from the record. The disclosures by Rivani, and evidence of the government's hunt for the gang affiliations with this court has considered fanciful, and it's true. The court here in Tennessee is like, yeah, he's not a gang member. Confirm the motive to paint him as a criminal, to punish him, and avoid the embarrassment of accepting responsibility, and to shift public opinion. include mounting concerns of the government's compliance with court orders. Notice now they're moving on to, now they're going on to this here. The government's compliance with court orders. Now we're just getting political stabs in at this point. And it says, because the record reflects the branch was actually vindictive, the indictment must be dismissed. Well, there's a realistic likelihood of vindictiveness. I mean, the branch, they are retaliating against him for fighting his removal and winning. Like, he still gets Afuera. They say, such a presumption arises, or put it in the way, there's a realistic likelihood where the defendant exercises some rights, the government has some stake in deterring that exercise. They say, first, there is no question that he exercised his constitutionally protected rights, seeking redress for his unlawful removal. Yeah, it is. He has the right to due process. And it's well established the First Amendment protects the right to petition the government for redress of grievances. Yep. And the Fifth Amendment guarantees his right to due process. As both concurrences in the Fourth Circuit stay denial explained. They say Abrego filed his lawsuit to vindicate his due process rights after they were frequently violated by the government. Yeah, great. And he gets them and then fucking Afuera. Like, great. Ooh, yas queen. So they point out that after denying the state of the mandamus, they explain that Abrego was entitled to due process. And it says, second, the government plainly had a stake in his exercise of rights because he directly and publicly challenged the government's unlawful conduct. The significance of the stake is made but clear by the continuous and evidently outraged statements that numerous branch officials have made about Kilmar and his claims over a sustained period. The heads of the DOJ, DHS, and even the president have openly complained and criticized his legal challenge. Those officials attacked him and the judges who granted him relief. That is more than enough to establish a prosecutorial stake in this circuit. Well, the government always has a prosecutorial stake. So, Poffin says, I ain't scared of no ghost. Oh. So they say in the case they found Bregan versus Poindexter. Poindexter. The Sixth Circuit affirmed the district court's finding of a likelihood of vindictiveness because it was clear the prosecutors had a stake in deterring the guy's rights. And it says, the burdens that the court victories placed on the executive branch underscore the government's stake in deterring Abrego from vindicating his rights. I mean, really? Like, fine, you get your hearings and you still fucking leave. But okay. Well, you know, this is getting cooked up into being a lot more than what it is. But okay. They point out that the likelihood that this would happen, it will spur a response, is indexed to the burden that the defendant's conduct is placed on the prosecution. And they point out that the Sixth Circuit affirmed dismissal based on a likelihood where, and notice they have to go back to 1974. Where somebody had been charged with child pornography offenses, won a suppression motion, and the government responded by charging him with a more serious offense it could have charged at any time during the 13-month pendency of the case. In analyzing the government's stake, the Sixth Circuit recognized that the successful suppression put on the government that he succeeded in suppressing evidence and thereby eviscerated the government suppression case, which saddled the government with the need to restart the prosecution from scratch. They talk about another case where the guy was convicted of a misdemeanor, appealed and obtained a new trial, after which they indicted him for a felony based on the same facts. And they say in the absence of all of this, the Supreme Court found a potential for vindictiveness. And they say consistent with that, courts have recognized that the requisite stake can be demonstrated where the government is forced to do over what it thought had already been done correctly. And they say here the burden placed on the government far exceeded the burden imposed in Blackledge. There, the government is merely forced to retry a case it previously won. Here, by contrast, the government is directed by multiple courts, including the Supreme Court, to remedy a grave error it had committed, causing a diplomatic incident and significant embarrassment to the government. Well, you're almost acknowledging it's kind of like, wow, the courts acted outside their authority. As true of the suppression motion, the legal victories inflicted a mortal blow on the government's removal. No, they didn't. He still is getting fucking removed. You're still getting Afuera. Get to have your thing. We'll send you to a third-party country. Bye, motherfucker. Like, you kind of won for like a half a second. You prolonged your execution. Yeah. I mean, like, let's not, like, you guys are talking way too much shit here. The burdens placed on the government by his immigration case victory established the government had a stake in deterring him from vindicating his rights. Other than saving a face, it doesn't hurt anything here. It says, third, the government's conduct in charging this case is unreasonable. Cases in which the government brings a case of retaliation for a prior civil suit are not wholly unprecedented. Okay. The defendant filed, in that case, they talk about where the lady was charged for tax crimes after filing a lawsuit against the EEOC or employer. Okay. And it says, ultimately, the Sixth Circuit remanded and they had for a hearing, and they said, if the EEOC was able to prevail upon the Department of Justice to institute a prosecution, that it would not have been undertaken but for her right to sue, it does not seem to us the EEOC's motivation is irrelevant. And they say this demonstrates one way the indictment is unreasonable. It was filed as a revenge against the defendant who previously sued the government. I mean, well, when you bring him back into the country, they now are like, okay, well, can we get rid of him another way? They weren't worried about it before because he was in fucking El Salvador. So why would you worry about prosecuting a guy you had already afuera'd? Well, now you have to bring him back. You want to make sure it sticks. And is it a legal prosecution? So they say the naked anti-upping against Abrego, confirmed by the public statements, underscores the unreasonableness of its conduct. More commonly, prosecutions arrive where the protected conduct prompts a superseding indictment, which ups the ante and retribution for exercises of rights. Well, the government, does that all the time when you do a pretrial motion or appeal. This happens all the fucking time, so let's not act surprised. In that context, the unreasonable new indictment must add additional charges or substitute more charges based on the conduct charged less heavily in the first indictment. And it was unreasonable for the government to bring charges that carried a greater sentencing exposure. And they say a charge increase that is not justified by intervening events can establish vindictive prosecution. And I see here retributive anti-upping is even clearer than the superseding indictment context. When he was pulled over, the FBI learned and decided not to pursue. He was released without charges. Okay. The facts about his conduct did not change in the intervening 3 years. What did change was that the government unlawfully renditioned Abrego to El Salvador, which he did. They did. And he challenged that conduct. As a result of that timing, it is clear that its effects on the government that prompted them to reevaluate the 2022 stop. Well, if he was being sent away, they didn't bother because it didn't fucking matter at that point. So it doesn't work. And they say courts have found such suspicious timing to be evidence of apparent vindictiveness. I guarantee you there's a million fucking cases, though, where they don't. You know how many times this shit gets filed? A lot. And you know how many times it gets shot down? Most of the time. So. And they point out when the government chooses not to lodge charges for a period of time, well, they didn't have to because they thought he was going away. They say if it is unreasonable to up the ante by adding charges, it is equally, if not more unreasonable, to bring entirely new charges in a brand new case based on conduct that previously resulted in no federal law enforcement arrest. Well, prior administration is going to be a big differentiation here, I would argue. Different administration. And the prosecution is selective. Is it really? He's been subjected to a selective prosecution because he was singled out. Well, when you fucking when you stand out, when you're a nail that stands up, you get fucking hammered. And they say the government's desire to prevent exercising its rights is outlined above. The government's decision to charge this case 2.5 years after the traffic stop underpins it's sufficient to establish discriminatory effect. Well, who had the case for the 2 years before? Not the Trump administration. Once again, this is where they're going to run into an issue, I think. different administrations. And that's what I would do if I was the government. Different administration, different priorities. In total, it took the government 903 days. Okay, well, what happened from November 30th till now? What happened? The defense has attempted to catalog every charge in this circuit within the last 15 years that counsel could find to see if anybody else ever faced a similarly long delay between the stop and the charge itself. We found none. We suspect it is because there are none. Okay. And it says, although if in a few outlier cases the charge may have taken a few months to come, the average time between stop and charge is well under a month. But no similarly situated defendant, an alleged driver in an alien smuggling conspiracy, has ever had to wait 2.5 years to be charged with a crime where the facts had not changed to the stop itself. Change in circumstance. Change in circumstance. Once again, new management. New management. Safa. Safa! Whereas here, no other similarly situated defense have been prosecuted, courts have properly found the requisite discriminatory effect. So they found one where no other business owners in the state have faced charges based on similar workplace raids. And it says courts have recognized other similar delays where no other defendant was charged with the same crime had to wait half as long, establishing effect. And they point out that in the United States v. Falk, a defendant who was a conscientious objector was charged for draft dodging, even though the government was on notice of his violation starting in 1967 when he returned his card. The government caught on to Falk's status as an active and vocal dissenter to United States policy with regard to the draft in the Vietnam War. All right, well, yeah. They go through, oh, yeah, this guy sent us a card. But here, once again, new management. Why did he have to wait that long? Because the previous administration was not enforcing things. So they said, so too here, as in Falk, the government has not explained the 2.5-year delay between the stop and his return to face charges in Tennessee. It's pretty fucking... The government hasn't said it. Well, the government will explain it. Different administration. They say the government offered no explanation for its defendants other than discretion, which they also have the right to do. That answer will not suffice in the circumstance of this case. Well, this isn't that same case. They say, indeed, the only possible explanation for the timing is the government chose to use its position to punish Abrego for exercising his right to challenge the due process issues that led to his unconstitutional deportation, incarceration, and torture in El Salvador. This, coupled with the government's statements clearly showing the intent to retaliate, unquestionably establishes discriminatory intent. I don't know about that. At a minimum, discovery and a hearing are required. At the very least, the court concludes the extensive statements are not sufficient to establish he is being prosecuted. Notice they're saying even if we can't prove it, then the court should order discovery into the government's motives with an evidentiary hearing. Well, if the court determines that's not enough, you don't get to keep investigating. It's over. Done. And it says for the selective prosecution motion, the government has come forward with some evidence tending to show the existence of the essential elements. And they say on a vindictive prosecution motion, discovery is required where the defendants make even a prima facie showing of a realistic likelihood of vindictiveness. And they say it's incumbent on the court to conduct an evidentiary hearing where the government explanations can be formally presented and tested. Well, the government has the right to respond by motion first. So, and Abrego already casted such discovery in a discovery request letter sent to the government. The government has not responded to that letter. Well, they don't, just because you send a letter doesn't mean they have to respond. So they say the evidence outlined above readily meets those standards. But I still think he's probably going to get it. And they said, nor can the government escape the clear entitlement to discovery in a hearing by merely proffering non-vindictive or selective bases for the charging decision. They say in a recent case, the government added CP counts that increased the mandatory minimum by 5 years after the defendant filed pretrial motions and 7 months after the initial indictment. It says the government responded by referencing factors that were not vindictive, and the district court denied the defendant's motion. The Sixth Circuit reversed, concluding the district court abuses discretion, failing to require the government to substantiate its explanations. And this is Judge Kethledge. He was actually going to be, at the time, when Kavanaugh was running, when Kavanaugh was in the nomination process, Kethledge was one of the people they thought might go at that time. But also Amy Coney Barrett was also listed as in the running for being nominated. So Kethledge was one of them, but he's not anymore. He's getting a little too old. So let's see here. Hold on, chat. 1 second. What am I looking for here? So hold on here. I don't know. Hold on here, chat. So, let's see here. Oh shit, I moved chat. Says Sean, we got to start over. Yes. Yes, Kavanaugh. Hi, Meme Copium. Josh, friend of the show. Meme Copium out there. He had a show this morning. Was hitting it pretty hard. Hold on, what was he talking about this morning? I didn't get a chance to poke in, but I saw the thumbnail. I thought it was pretty good. Meme Copium was talking about and the day before he was talking about Shadiversity, which I really liked the way you did Shadiversity there. Sean loved getting called on in class to read aloud. Not necessarily. I didn't necessarily like it. So they move on here and they say, upon the sufficient showing, he's entitled to discovery at a hearing. Even the government explains itself. It's necessary for the defense of the court to test any explanations. Once they happen, what are you going to do? Bend over and take it? I mean, at that point, what are you doing? So they say for the foregoing reasons, this is done here. He respects the court, dismiss the case. He's got a nice fucking law firm, Hecker Fink LLP. You know, all people admitted pro hoc vice. I'm sure he could fucking pay for all these fucking attorneys, chat. I'm sure that this is all being paid for there, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure this is not something new there. Yeah. Yeah. So let's get to some of these comments here. The amateur iconoclast says Clyde got back at Sean. He always does in the end. Angela says Pam Bondi needs to be removed. So tired of her. I agree. She's a fucking idiot. I never liked her. Debbie O. Thank you, Debbie. Says, we haven't seen you change anything either, yet the sound is coming and going. Can you ask 2.0 to log in so she can describe it to you? Sure. Hey, 2.0. My audio sucks, apparently. Can you help me figure it out? Like how bad it sucks? Okay. Shredder S 07 for $4.99 says, here you go. Chat pooled our funds to help with your future audio upgrade. Consider it a late birthday present. Shure is a good mic, by the way. I know it's a good mic. 2.0 got this for me. This is something for 2.0, guys. And look, it's the you can't see it, but it's a Shure SM7B. But yes, it's a Shure. I have a Joe Rogan. Look, chat. It's a Joe Rogan mic. So let me pull that shit up, Jamie. Jamie, pull that shit up. It's not the mic, it's the DAC. Okay. Your retard sucked 20 minutes ago. I know. I was trying to figure it out. Oh my God, those chats were a while ago. Your audio's fine now. Okay. It was a streaming and compression issue. Oh, see, Joe's like, booyah! It wasn't his fault. Thank you, Joe. It's fine now. Okay, well, maybe it was fine all the time. It's been good for a half hour now. I mean, he isn't muted, so overall it's good. Yes, well, yes. We're paying through the shit through NGOs, yes. I bet they're getting paid by ActBlue. 100% I agree they are. 100% they are. Muspel is saying, so he's saying he was tortured in El Salvador. I mean, can he prove that? Is there a video so we could watch for just educational reasons? And then laugh? Yes. Tyler Yankee over at the Libertarian Podcast Review chat. Remember, it is the #1 podcast review for libertarians. It is also the #1 podcast. It is also the #1 podcast review of libertarian podcasts that's out there. Tyler's your man. Tyler, we need to get together soon, man. It's been a while. We need to chop it up. As the kids say. So, but no, I didn't like being called on in class to read aloud. No, because there were a lot of times like I could pronounce. I had, my vocabulary was verbose, and like I knew a lot of the words, so it was a little, yeah. So that was not always the best because I could read all the big hard words. And then every once in a while, there was stuff I didn't do. Like, I think I brought this up before. In one of my music classes, we had to read, and there was like this magazine that we all got, and our music teachers make us read it. And he came to me and was talking about like hip hop music. And this is like 1998. And I said something like a rapper named Busta Rhymes. And he looked at me and he's like, "It's Busta." And I'm like, And I had to stop him. And I'm like, I'm in the 7th grade. I really wish I could, like, I felt really embarrassed, but I almost wanted to say, like, dude, we live in the middle of fucking nowhere. Do you think I know what Busta Rhymes is? I had no idea. Later on, like within a year or so, though, I learned, and like, there's he had some good music. But, as a fucking like 13-year-old, like, who the hell is Busta Rhymes? And there are a bunch of kids in the class laughing. And I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is. So it was a little embarrassing. Bob says, I think chat should be deported, Sean. Yeah, well, there you go. True. Marlene says Abrego was singled out for not prosecution in 2022. I agree. Are you cool enough to have been in front of the 6th Circuit? No, not yet. Maybe at some point, chat. Like I said, one of the goals this summer here and probably coming up, get admitted to the Northern District of Ohio, and then, because you have to be admitted to a district court, and then you can get admitted down on the 6th Circuit, because I know a couple of attorneys will help me with that. And then Stabby is saying, I thought the Bill of Rights was to protect the citizens. Why should it apply to the population of the world? Because they're within our borders. I mean, and the Supreme Court has decided that. I mean, otherwise, does that mean the cops could beat the shit out of a guy? Anybody who's not a U.S. citizen to get a confession out of them. So, like, if they see what's the threshold for that? Because that's where, that's not sure I've been set up yet. Let's see here. J-Rock. It's been a member for 23 months. Thank you for your support, J-Rock. It's good to see you. And you're going through your casino withdrawals tonight. Says, Sean, your chat sucks at towers, but we try hard. We try really hard to do towers here. Brandon has been a member for 19 months. For 18 months. Says, we lost Clyde? No. Clyde! Come here, Bubba. Come on, buddy. Come here, Clyde. Why not? You what? Oh, okay. I guess. Hold on 1 second, chat. All right, chat. I guess 2.0 and Clyde are having a little too much fun right now. So, Clyde! You can hear 2.0. She's extremely fired up tonight. No. Apparently, Clyde is snuggled in with 2.0. So, we lost He's still here, chat, I promise. Anyways, John Coleman gifting 10 subs. Let's go, chat. Let's fucking go. That's right, chat. 10 subs. Let's see here. Gotta get rid of that. Clyde, the swamp dog. Boy, he looks so cute like that. Going to blow up some beaver dams. With the Duck Dynasty crew. With Phil. Not Darkside Phil, but the Duck Dynasty Phil. Phil Roberts. Says gifting 5 subs. And chat doing their part to make America green again. We'll probably wear that shirt tomorrow night to make America green again. Have to try it on to actually figure out if it fits. Yeah. I'll look like a little kid I'll look like I'm wearing a little kid shirt probably. Then Panchito Clyde. What's Panchito mean anyway? I thought Panchito was like a food. Panchito. Meaning Panchito. Okay, well, yeah, translate to English. What does Panchito mean? Okay, so here's what, hold on, I'm confused now. Okay, so I go to Google, Panchito meaning. Okay, so
Panchito.
I got that part right. And then it's adjetivo. Hispanoamericano de aspecto añadido. Usado también como sustantivo. I have no idea what that meant. That says nombre masculino. Semilla de colete frita. Generalmente consal. I don't see. So what does it mean in Mexican? It's a profane term for a mestizo or indigenous Central or Southern American. Okay. What does it mean in birthdays? It means happy birthday. Panchito is a diminutive form of Pancho, which is a common nickname for for Francisco. It's only used as similar calling someone Frankie in English. Okay. So anyways, birthday Clyde, I guess. I don't know. But he looks like one of the 3 amigos. He looks so cute. Saying for $19.99. Just because Swamp Clyde made me do it. Aw, he's a good boy. So, and they say, Sean Martinez in de casa, yes. The Mets have 2 Franciscos, yes. Please Abuelita explain, yes. Robo Clyde says Panchito Clyde was deported. Summer Angela says, down with the white man. I agree. Well, you can't trust fucking white man, so. Yes. KFS says, watch out, chat. He's casting Harry Potter spells. That's what I feel like reading Spanish sometimes. So, yes, no bueno. Oh, Sean is Indian and Spanish. Yeah. Oh, it's a term of endearment. I kind of figured that, but I didn't know. Yeah, where's Erica to explain things? And saying my ancestors inbred for 500 years, so I could still be here. Well, there you go. Aw. And then Stabby says my great grandparents are from I don't know how you pronounce that. I don't even know where the hell that is. Is that in Mexico? So I don't know. Duckside Phil. Oh no. No, chat, don't do that. Oh. Yeah, where is Erica? She says no one listens to me. Yeah. A haka in your face. El Samicho says you weren't here when they asked originally. Oh, Oaxaca. Oh, Oaxaca. It's like What's like Wakanda? No, no, chat. It's pronounced Oaxaca. Okay, it almost sounds like we're now in Japan. Da 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 gong. Hello. I need Max Murra here now. Oaxaca? Or is that like Ohana? Oh no, chat. It's just all yeah, Mexican Wakanda. Yes. This stream got really racist. I mean, a little bit. You never read Under the Volcano? No, I did not. No, I remember as a kid we read this book called like Arrow to the Sun. And it was like all weird looking thing, but it was like the guy got bent into a arrow and shot into the sun. I was like, okay, that's a little weird, but okay. Wakanda Forever. Yes, I'm waiting for Peggy Hill to say it. Or Napoleon Dynamite's grandma, get yourself your goddamn quesadillas. Okay. Clyde. I hear click-clacks, chat. He's coming fast. Come here, Bubba. Come on. Clyde, hey, look what I got. Come here, buddy. Oh, Kimbo, he doesn't like your food anymore, so sorry. Okay. Sean is Clyde's number 4 stop. I know, it feels like that. He's got 2.0, and then on the way here, there's a bunch of food. There's water. And then in between the water and me, there's all the food. And like half the time, he's eating food. So I guess we're not getting him tonight. So that's all right. That's all right, chat. One more time. Okay. Clyde, come here, Bob. Come on, Bubba. Come here. Come here. Oh, wow. He came running in. Clyde, hey. Up here. Come here. Hey. Come here. Clyde, hey. Hey. Come here. There you go. He's just like standing there looking at me. He's like, what do I do, fat man? His hair is all misheveled. Let's get you fixed up, sir. Let's make you presentable. There you go. Oh, chat. He's here now. Clyde is an ingrate. There you go. You got yourself some Clyde ASMR. All right, chat. So, Meme says, when I was a child, the one time I was a bully. I can't imagine it's just one time, given your internet presentations you do. I told someone I'd throw them into the sun and say, hot enough for you, imitating The Simpsons. I felt really bad about it later. So, all right. Now, moving on. The situation in the District of Columbia, in Washington, D.C., is getting pretty interesting. It's very funny. DC is getting just a little bit spicy, getting a wee bit spicy out there, chat. And Angela, I know you live in DC, but yeah, you see some interesting stuff like this guy talking
all the way through the southeast side. Man, down the city is quiet as a church mouse, man. I came all the way down Pennsylvania Avenue this morning. So peaceful, yeah. I don't smell no weed, young. I don't see no homeless people. I mean, I came all the way through the southeast side, all the way down here. You see now I'm at the White House, jump, man. It's quiet, yeah. It's a shame that it takes somebody to have to sit in your classroom in order for you to be in order, yeah. Because that's what it feels like, yeah. You gotta be babysitter to do your job, yeah. Stuff been out of control for years. You gotta do better, yeah. You gotta do better, yeah. And mainly, young, you got the problems. It's us, man. It's always us giving everybody a bad name, yeah. We'll see how long this lasts, yeah. How many murders was it last night? How many carjackings was it last night? Talk to me. And y'all keep on posting all these data numbers and things of that nature that y'all see everybody else reposting. The stuff that came from the Metropolitan Police Department and the mayor, yeah. Let me tell you something, yeah. Let me tell you something. You can't be that stupid. You can't be, man. Who enters that information to get that data analysis, young? People do. You can enter whatever numbers you want to make whatever.
I mean, I do agree. He's walking down Pennsylvania Avenue. That's going to be the most heavily patrolled and protected place any day of the week. But there are a lot of comments, though, and there are some videos and things popping up of, like, down in the Navy Yard, which is kind of like one of the nastier fucking places in D.C. The National Guard is out running around, and they're just being there in presence. And, you know, it's like, obviously they're out right now while the sun's up, but being in the Navy Yard when the sun goes down is the true test. But, you know, people are out there and, you know, it's people are walking around. There is, you know, kids are playing on the Humvees. Hopefully they don't get their fingers crushed and shit. Although they probably know who these guys are. They're probably the DC National Guard. Like, they probably know some of these people. They're out of the community. So, all right, hold on. I got to put Clyde. Sorry, Clyde, do you want... I don't know what Clyde's doing right now. I don't know what Clyde's doing. He's, like, jumping farther off. Yeah, the door falls off. Yeah. Yeah, if you're a DC guardsman, you live in DC. Well, can any of them live outside of DC? I don't know. I know Ohio sent a bunch of guardsmen down, but I think a lot... Yeah, Clyde's like face down, ass up. Yeah. Yes, you need to be on the water if you want to survive. DC isn't even as bad as Richmond. Yeah, but DC is still pretty bad. And Richmond is really bad. So, anyways, Clyde, I'm going to set you down, bubber. You're, like, jumping off me here. So, there you go, Clyde. There you go, Clyde, old bear. Such a good boy. The best boy, Clyde. Louisiana sent 130 of them. Wow. Wow, did not know that. But yes, there are things going on in DC. There are a bunch of things that have occurred. There was the funniest thing of all, though, was the Fox News contributor Jessica Tarloff. She is a Democrat, and this is pretty good here. So this was a comment that she had put out. She had saw a video of a guy getting arrested in DC outside the National Mall. And the guy was on the ground screaming, "Please, I'm not a criminal. I work here. I want to be in my family." Well, it turns out he was wanted out of Fairfax County, Virginia for fucking molesting a child. So she kind of tore this post down. You're like, uh-oh. You're like, yeah. That's kind of funny. And she kind of took the post down. You're like, oh no. It's like, but wait, what happened? Why happened like that? You know, you're like, huh. It is interesting, isn't it, Chad? It's interesting. So so what happened from here? Well, this is actually the guy getting arrested, guys. So here you go. I love how he tried to run away. It's like, yeah, bro, that's gonna fucking happen. You're gonna outrun these dudes. Like, you know, you're just like, I'm gonna make a run for it. You're like what did you expect to happen here? I mean, he's clearly yeah. That was more of a notion of running than the actual thing, yeah. So Yeah. No Plato no Plato respirar. Oh, I can't breathe. Okay, well. Is that what he's saying? Yeah, is he saying he can't breathe? Hold on here, because I couldn't tell. I don't know what the hell he's saying.
Yo no tengo nada, señor. Señor. Yo no, por favor. Yo no debo nada, papi. Yo no debo nada. 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 Yo estoy trabajando. Yo no debo nada. 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 Yo trabajo. Yo quiero estar con mi familia. Yo quiero estar con mi familia. Yo vengo de trabajar. Por favor. Yo vengo de trabajar. Yo quiero estar con mi familia. Yo no soy criminal. 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 Yo no soy criminal.
I mean, aside from the being here illegal part, yes, you probably aren't a criminal, but you are here illegally.
Yo no soy criminal. Yo quiero estar con mi familia. Brother. Hermano. Vámonos, maldito. Llévalo, Ya. Me está lastimando.
You notice these other videos, people are getting up there and screaming at the cops in DC. Everybody's like, I don't fucking care. It's hot out. I'm doing something else. So that's a loud scream at the end. I did say I will comment, chat, that I sent out a statement claiming that he was arrested and charged with sexual battery against a minor. But it does appear, based on the records out of Fairfax County. Now, I don't know what this means here, but it says apparently at some point there was a nolle prosequi on some of his stuff. So it looks like it may have been dismissed, but it's not clear which parts of this were dismissed or how this all shook out. So maybe the charges got dismissed. She asked the Commonwealth's attorney in Fairfax County what that was about yet, but she hasn't heard anything. Although the ICE spokesman tells her the prosecutors refused to prosecute. Okay, well, if he refused to prosecute, then he wasn't charged with this shit. So it's not really clear, but it does sound like, was he here illegally? Well, there you go. That still goes away. Yes, that doesn't help though, because it's Fairfax County where they forced boys into the girls' locker rooms there. So, yeah, remember, guys, Fairfax and Loudoun counties were doing all kinds of nasty shit to parents who stood up to the school board. So we don't really know what's going on. It's not clear, but for right now, yeah, we don't know. This is a funny one, though. This is a good look back to the past in 2024 as the election was ramping up. What did we learn about DC? As violent crime soars in Washington, D.C., Trump said he would take over the city. So, yeah, how does that look? Isn't that kind of interesting? Before this all happened, before Trump won, oh my God, it's a shitty town. As soon as Trump won, they're like, wait, no, it's not that bad. Oh, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting how it shook out by NBC? Yes. Promises made, promises kept. So. And then moving on from there, guys, there is some news out of Texas. So this is the vote map for the Texas GOP voting for redistricting. of Tejas. And guess what happened? Well, what do you see? I see a lot of greens. Once again, chat, greens everywhere. Greens across the board. Go flight, go flight, go flight. But guess what we have? Guess what we got now in Texas, chat? Texas, you beautiful sons of bitches. You did it. Ya did it. The Texas State House has officially approved the map. On the map. On the map. On the map. What about, chat? Bump, 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 bump. Look at that big, beautiful state, chat. It's almost like they gave the cities the power that they're entitled to. The city represents the people in the city. Yes. Capcom, we are a go. Fido, go flight. DeportCon, go flight. Afuera, go flight. Oh. But check that out. Check that out, chat. Sam Houston's heart in his grave. Yes, redder than a dog dick. Yes. And California said they're going to try to redistrict, although the funny thing is California is prohibited by law from doing that. And then once again, you have states like Illinois, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Remember, we talked about all those. Remember how that stuff gets done. So, but look at this. Based. Mama monster kill. Yes. You win by winning, yes. And I will say, there is a very base comment out there that I saw, and I'm like, you know what? It is 100% fucking true. It is 100% fucking true. Also, this is a very good. This one here is hilarious. This guy posted, he's like, what happened to the American dream? You do everything right. You enter the country illegally. You fail to learn English. You molest children. And yet no white picket fence and no dog on the porch. This country is a disaster. Yes. So true. So true. But this is the best cheer chat. This is absolutely based. When I saw this, I was just let's see, where is it? Did I not? Oh, hold on. I got to go look for this real quick. More. I'll open this up. Sorry, I gotta grab my marks of books. There's a couple things here. We got some memes to do. This is a pretty true comment here, chat. This is said by a guy named Brandon Harnish. He's a guy out of Indiana. So he says, if overturning Roe and banning abortion did not trigger blue wave in Indiana, then redrawing district lines will not either. Probably correct. Very correct. A Republican county councilor in Wells County who has lobbied state legislators to support redistricting. Politics! Fucking man's got the balls to say it. Politics is not about neutral rules. It is about who governs. Fucking A right. Oh. It's about time we fucking saw that. It's about time we saw that. Politics is about who governs. You know, when you hear somebody say it, you're like, wait, that's exactly how it fucking goes. That's exactly how we need to do it. And then there's hold on here. I need to see, I need to bring up where's the guy who actually, where is the guy who I found this from somebody else who had where's this guy? I'm trying to find it real quick here, chat. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to find the repost because this guy, yeah, here we go. This is it right here. This guy right here, this is a pretty good guy to follow, Christian Heinz. But anyways, yes, he read it. Politics is about who governs. And obviously he's using the quote, he's using Salieri from Amadeus. He's just like, just music to his ears. It's poetry. Yes. It's so true. It's so true. Although when you go back here, when this guy's covering it, I do think there's some good points here where these people are like, this is correct. Some guys like, imagine 5 Brandons on every county council. And I had seen this before. This is actually pretty cool. You guys have never seen this before, but this is pretty based. It's like the most based 8-bit thing I've ever seen. I was like, wow, that's cool. That's cool. That's nice. Let's see here. What is all this stuff here? Let me see here. I'm trying to make sure I got everything. Oh, Afix. All right, yeah, we'll this gray sexual thing. So yeah, that's interesting. Gray sexual is a real thing. You're like, what? You fucking grays. I was a kid there in 1991 to 93. I thought it was fine, but I was really young. Yeah. But yeah, 8-bit Marca. Yes. Yeah, whose AC went out? I own you says my AC went out in the attic. It's fixing it now. Ooh, that sucks. Hope it's not too bad to get it going again. Sorry to hear, man. Is it nothing ever happens to clock? Pretty much. Pretty much. But yes, they're gray sexuals, chat. We're getting rid of all you grays. God damn it. Keep walking. Keep walking. All right. So what else we got? Anything else? I think we're let me just double check I didn't miss anything. Hold on here, chat. Oh, I do like this. This is another one. This America memed guy. This is actually pretty good here. And it says, Democrats, this city was safe 5 years ago. What happened? And it's like, me, I don't know. There's no audio for this? Hold on. Dolly's saying no. Are you saying no audio? Or are you saying there's no audio? It's mute? Oh, I don't know. Yes, there is. There is audio. You guys can hear it. Okay. Some of you guys need to refresh. So. Yeah, it's playing Mr. Blue Skies. Mr. Gray Skies. No, he means mute. It's copyright. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Well, hold on, chat. We're just doing it for a second here. There ain't a cloud in sight. Raining where there's none. It's in the rain, and don't you know it's a beautiful new day. Hold on. We're going to be, hey, running down the avenue. Anyway, there you go. There you go, chat. What? Yes. We're going to do Clyde here in a second. So people have gotten struck out. Yeah, you know, guys, but it's okay. It's okay because the worst case scenario that happens is it gets demonetized. So worst case scenario. Tom Selleck looks like me now. Yeah. Yes. I forgot how much of Magnum PI he breaks the fourth wall. I forgot about it. But yeah, see, I kept timing pretty good timing. Like, you could thank me later, chat. You can thank me later. Oh, and real quick, the judge out of the judge in Providence, Frank Caprio, apparently died today. So if you guys know who that is, it's the judge who used to have that, like, they'd film him coming in and people would be like, Judge, I'm poor, forgive me. He's like, all right, fine, your fines are gone. Apparently he had pancreatic cancer and he kicked the bucket today. So F's in the chat. F's in the chat. So yeah, rest in peace, Judge Caprio. Yep. Rest in peace, Your Honor. Magnum will be jealous of the cookie tester I got right now. Yeah. His bailiff will be handling the court now. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, interesting. Thank you, Robo Clyde. Yeah. So Stacy says we should all be so lucky. Yeah. So he does give a statement here. He looks like he's definitely at the end.
Because I came through a very difficult.
So
last year I asked you to pray for me. And it's very obvious that you did. Because I came through a very difficult period. Unfortunately, I've had a setback. I'm back in the hospital now. And I'm coming to you again, asking you to remember me in your prayers once more. And so I ask you again, if it's not too much, that you can remember me in your prayers. I'm a great believer in the power of prayers. I think the Almighty above is looking over us. So remember me, please.
it sounds like, though, he did pass away. So definitely say a prayer for his family. Mr. Sniper says he was only nice in front of a camera and was in real life an asshole. Well, maybe he is, but still, you can, the forced captions from Cat Cut drive you crazy. Well, yeah. Name the courthouse after him. Well, anyways, here's the thing, guys. Regardless, you know, we're not going to sit here and laugh at somebody getting cancer. We don't do that on this channel. So say a prayer for him. He passed away. Say a prayer for his family. If you don't like him, say a prayer for his family, because that family's missing their dad, their grandpa, their whoever. Well, I doubt brother, but because he was old, but whatever. So don't end on a sad note. We won't. We're not going to end on a sad note, but so he said, I should have specified I wanted prayers for healing, not dying. Okay. Yes, Paul Harrell went out with style. Yes, Paul Harrell did. You know, and that's the way you could do it. If you can do it like that far in advance, where you can do the, if you're watching this, I am already dead. Yeah, that's an interesting way to go. Going out on top like that. So let's see here. Apparently, though, yeah, we'll end on this note. Apparently, this is from Brian Koberger from prison. It's very much an Office Space mode. He says, I have on several occasions not received all items of food on my tray, although if he's not, that is bullshit. I addressed this during service and have yet to receive any replacements. In fact, the kitchen is not even called. The policy book confirms items missing, which are pointed out at the time of service, will be replaced. I wish to, without exception, receive these replacements. He says, I've tried to address this issue with staff at the time of meal service. It says, I wish for the items need to be returned or replaced. Not being upheld, and I want my full tray. Signature Brian Koberger. Allegedly, this is from him, so we'll see. Yeah, so me right good, yeah. Are they starving him? No, I bet he's not getting like his cookie, or he's probably not getting the treat. Like usually you get like you get something good on your tray. And yeah, he's using a flex pen, chat, which we talked about these before. Here, hold on. Hold on here, chat. Let me move some stuff around. Yeah, giving up that fruit cup, yes. Does he get a vegan tray? I think so. I think that's one of his other issues. Someone's taking his dessert. Yeah, the snack pack scoop. Yeah, that's the thing. Don't drop shit next time. Yes. Yes. Brian, you wouldn't have to do this if you didn't fucking tie your shit off next time. When you go kill people, fucking make sure you tie up shit to your belt properly. Be a proper criminal. And remember, chat, somebody said he's those flex funds are trash. Remember, it's one of these things here. And I remember because I brought this home one time, and I brought one home for you guys because I wanted you guys to see them. These are the pens you get in prison and in jails. Look, it's nice and flexy. So think about it. You can't really write with it. You basically have to write like this with it. And that's so you can't take like something like this and bury it in someone's ear or eye socket. So, yes, worst hotel ever. They might actually be starving him. They could be. It wouldn't surprise me if all kinds of fucked up shit happens. Remember, fucked up shit happens in prison. That doesn't mean it's acceptable. All kinds of fucked up shit happens in prison. People like that are doing far less than Brian Koberger get treated like shit by the guards. So it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me it's happening. Do I doubt it's happening at this point? He's too high profile right now. So you'd think if the guards were going to do something, they would do it later on after it's been like a couple of years, and then you could really abuse them. Because I doubt they're that stupid. But you know what? I mean, you know, sometimes COs are not the smartest guys in the world. So sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not. And you think they should be. But, you know, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. So. So prison looks like you went to, looks like preschool to handwriting. Yeah, I mean, that's, remember, you're using this shitty little pen, but I'm also betting he didn't have the best handwriting in the world. Like, you know, super turbo autists don't always have the best handwriting. He's still a militant vegan. Yeah, they forgot the dandelions. Sign Jesus, man. Say or bring the damn sheath with you. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Well, leave the nice sleeve at home. Well, yeah, that's dangerous. So you're gonna hurt. Yeah, you gonna eat that cornbread? Yes. Although flex pens, the way they get around flex pens, making them flimsy. I've seen inmates do this. You take a piece of paper and you like kind of roll it like you're rolling up a joint. You just keep wrapping it around the pen and you give it a little bit of flex and you give it a little bit of stiffness. Rubber pencils in schools, rubber pens in jail. Yes. The rubber dong pen, throw it on the court of a WNBA game. My guess is going to be transferred to Pennsylvania soon. In regular population, guys get big. Sometimes they can, but not always. Yeah, it's basically an air tube with an ink pen refill. Yeah. Show us the vape cards you smuggled in. Yeah, I don't do that shit. The only thing I give inmates when I'm in there, it's like, man, like they're like, I need paper. I'm like, yeah, here, take a whole fucking. You can't give them a pad because the guards will take it away. But I'm like, one time I had a guy, he made some money with commissary by giving out fucking paper. I gave him like half a legal pad. I'm like, I don't know. Here you go, man. And Brought him a couple sheets of, blank printer paper, and he sold and made some money and took care of himself while he was in jail. So, Muspel is saying, for what it's worth, Sean, I always treated people in my custody and care well. I think a lot of COs do, but that said, though, not always. That said, kitchen staff would mess up trays, and it was always the cakes. Yeah, they're gonna fuck him over on that. He was not taught cursive, likely. Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Is he gonna get Joker 2'd? Maybe. I hear he's real good at cleaning cars. Yeah. Paper is practically magic in prison. Yeah, you could do all kinds of stuff with paper. That paper is now knives. Yeah. Well, I've told you guys before. When I was an intern, they prosecuted a guy for taking pieces off a trash bag. He was ripping them and laying them on the heater, and he turned that into a shiv with a pen in the middle of it for reinforcement. With paper, you can make an origami throwing star. Yeah. Did you see a sexual harassment complaint? No, I did not see that. That's funny. Let's see here. We'll see if that's out there. I'll save that for tomorrow night. 'Cause I need some material for the Thursday night show. We're a little light on things for tomorrow, so yeah. So let me see here, guys. Let me see here. No, yeah, we're gonna save that for tomorrow. Dave, did Ohio survive you? That is the question. Yeah. Some will file their ID cards in the points. Yep. Makes me wonder how they limit your food in jail. How dudes get so jacked. Because it's a lot of it's high calorie food. But then guys, if they can through commissary, they'll buy like tuna fish and other meat products to supplement protein. So it's a very common thing. Like they'll do that to get jacked. So we aren't covering Corey Mills. No, we are, but I mean, I can cover him on a Thursday night show. But if you want to cut, like, he kind of like, I was kind of thinking he deserves his own show. But yeah, I could do it tomorrow if you want. So, MLS David said, Salvador's your cavity filled yet? Guys, I'm going to be joining David on Saturday night, doing some Legos with not actual Legos, not authorized Legos. So it's like an outlaw Lego stream, but we're going to hang out and have some fun. So that'll be a fun time. Yeah. You have nothing but time. So you also work out. Yeah. Yep. He says sexual harassment. I'm not getting raped. Yeah. Have you talked about the radioactive Walmart shrimp? No, I did not. Yes. I don't care when you do it. You said you land material. Well, yeah, that's something I could do tomorrow. And if I can't get enough stuff, I will be doing it tomorrow. So unauthorized Bionicle stream. You wouldn't download a Lego racer. I 100% would. As a kid, if you told me there were machines that you can make Legos on, I'd have been like, I want that thing. So that would have been awesome. As a kid, a 3D printer, like I can just make Legos. That would have been so cool. All right, chat. That is it for tonight. We are all done. Want to remind you guys tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern, the Thursday night show. We got some things we're gonna get to. We're not all the way. We're not out of ideas. I promise we are not out of ideas. Let me tell you what. Not even close. We are going to be covering a bunch of stuff out there, including the 4chan getting attacked by the UK government, the Indian truck driver who basically murdered those people down in Florida, which, whoo, buddy. This is rough. It's rough down there. That whole story is just rough how that worked out. I missed a joke. Yeah, I did. There's lots of cover Destiny PDF, more Greer Indians. Yeah, well, some of that stuff does, Greer, we save Greer for the Greer streams. Let's see here. What else we got? K-State plays Iowa in Dublin Saturday morning for football. Huh. Yeah, because I'm sure that's what the Irish want to see is Big 12 football. Yay! Oh. Hashtag says I'm in Manhattan. We won't be here Saturday to watch the game. Yeah. Dublin, Ireland. Yes, it looks like it. Yeah. Isn't Kiwi Farms co-defender with 4chan? No, I don't know what you mean. So, do you see a change in the volume of cases when school starts? I mean, like with juvenile delinquencies, obviously they disappear, but that's really kind of the big thing. You see a change in criminal cases when the weather gets colder because everybody's inside now. And then around the holidays. So like at Thanksgiving, you see a shitload of things happen. But then really in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's a fucking explosion of criminal cases. Because people are drinking, domestic violence issues. But that's really when it happens. Then as soon as it gets warm again, shoo, it takes off like a rocket. No matter where you are. Everybody gets rowdy when it gets nice out. Do I ever listen to Devin Stack? No. Ice cream sales cause rape fallacy. No, people interact. Like the reason why crime goes up is because people are out and about doing things. Like it's when it's cold outside, you're not going to go walk down the street and try to break into cars or break into someone's house. When it's nice out, you go out to the bar and there's a ton of people at the bar and everybody's drinking and it's hot out and tempers flare. Like there's so much more disorderly conduct in the summer because people are out and about. So, yeah. Criminals don't like bad weather. Yeah. Cal says, I sent you a good story for tomorrow night. I mean, I don't know if I can trust you because, the whole, you seem to think there are fake breeds of dog out there, like a Malamute. I still don't know what that is. They're just Huskies. So, yes, the heat makes people nuts. It does. So, all right, chat. With that said, we're going to land the plane here. I will see you guys tomorrow. And remember, until next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Although, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, you guilty. And even if you're not guilty, you are still afuera. Good night, chat, and take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?